What if I told you your brain makes up its mind about trusting a brand in less time than it takes to blink? We're talking 200 milliseconds. That's faster than you can even form a conscious thought.
That's such a mind-bending concept when you really think about it. Our brains are making these split-second decisions before we even know we're making them.
And here's what's fascinating, this isn't some modern quirk of consumer behavior. It's actually our ancient brain circuitry doing exactly what it evolved to do. Our amygdala, the brain's threat detection system, is running the same programming it used when we were avoiding predators thousands of years ago.
So you're saying our primitive brain is essentially treating modern brands and designs the same way it treated potential threats in the wild?
Exactly right. Let me give you a perfect example of how this plays out. Picture two hospitals with identical ratings and credentials. One has sharp angles, bright red signage, and harsh fluorescent lighting. The other features soft curves, gentle blues, and warm lighting. Research shows people overwhelmingly choose the second one, and they make that choice before they've processed a single conscious thought about either facility.
Well, that really makes me think about how many of my own healthcare choices might have been influenced by these subtle design elements rather than actual medical outcomes.
And here's where it gets even more interesting. Major brands are absolutely aware of this psychological programming. Take Apple's design philosophy. Have you noticed how everything they create, from their hardware to their software interfaces, features those signature rounded corners?
Now that you mention it, that design choice is everywhere in their ecosystem, but I never really thought about why until now.
The science behind it is fascinating. Studies show that our brains process curved shapes differently than angular ones. Sharp edges actually trigger a mild threat response in the amygdala, while curved edges barely register as a concern. Even infants show a measurable preference for rounded shapes.
That really explains why so many tech companies have moved away from the sharp, aggressive designs of the early 2000s to more rounded, friendly interfaces today.
And when we look at color psychology, the patterns become even more apparent. There's a reason why nearly every major bank, healthcare provider, and social media platform uses blue in their branding. Research shows blue literally lowers anxiety levels and triggers trust responses in our brains.
Though it's kind of unsettling to think these visual cues could be used to manipulate people into trusting something they shouldn't.
That's precisely where the ethical dimension becomes crucial. These psychological triggers are powerful tools that can either help people make faster decisions about genuinely good products and services, or they can be used to mask incompetence or even dangerous products.
So, how do we protect ourselves from this kind of unconscious manipulation?
The key isn't trying to override these instant reactions. They're actually valuable survival mechanisms. Instead, it's about creating a small gap between the feeling and the action. When something feels immediately right or wrong, that's your cue to pause and ask, what am I actually reacting to?
So, it's more about developing awareness than fighting our instincts.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is how these principles extend beyond just visual elements. The weight of packaging, the sounds apps make, even the texture of materials, they're all carefully designed to trigger specific emotional responses in that crucial 200 millisecond window.
This conversation has really changed how I'm going to approach my next purchasing decision. I'll be much more aware of these subtle influences.
And that awareness is exactly what gives us back some control. We can't eliminate these instant reactions, but we can learn to recognize them and make more conscious choices about when to trust them and when to question further.
It's like having a new lens to view the world through, one that helps us understand why we feel the way we feel about certain brands and designs.
And remember, these instant reactions aren't inherently good or bad. They're just part of being human. The real power comes from understanding them and learning to create that small space between the trigger and our response.